Hey all, Merry Christmas. I put a little video together here to give you guys the gift of health in 2026. I know lifting weights or going to the gym and doing things like that can be a little intimidating, or maybe we don't have the time or whatever it may be. But I know all of you want to live your lives, be able to travel, do the things you want to do, have grandchildren, whatever it may be. And one of the big things is strength. We're really concerned about our cardiovascular health, and that's important, but muscle mass, bone density really matter. And I'm going to show you here, I use that slant board right there. You can see how I stand on it both different ways. I do deep squats in it, really good for knee health, really good for the Achilles, really good for the calves. I stand up there, I open my chest up, my back. Getting into that position right there really helps hips, knees, ankles. I kind of do this routine every single day. You can definitely do this. You really need very, very little equipment. That slant board is really helpful, but you can definitely start with the plyo box. You'll see me pull it out here in a second. That box, you can buy it in a lot of different sizes, and it's usually 3 different sizes depending on which side you turn the box on. But the big stuff to really work on is your back, your legs, and your joints. And these little exercises here will really help you. You can do it while watching your favorite show. Make it a habit. And you'll see here, I do a couple different things. First, step ups. Right leg up, right leg down. Right leg up, right leg down. You try to really drive through the full foot here to keep yourself in balance. And the good news is, there's a lot of different variables that you can use here. So reps is 1, number of sets is 2, the height of the box is 3, the rest that you take between sets is 4, how many times per week you do it is 5. So there's a lot of different things you can look to do. The step ups are great, and then here, these are box squats. The idea is to push your hips back, sit on the box, and then stand up and kind of squeeze your butt at the top. Push your knees out when you're getting into your squat. These simple exercises, like stepping up on a box and squatting down and sitting on a box, it will improve your leg muscles and your back muscles dramatically. Now I'm going to grab a weight. If you have a dumbbell, if you have a kettlebell, you could use a gallon of water if you don't have anything like that. The idea here is to grip that weight in your hand and squeeze it as hard as you can. There's a study that shows that older people, grip strength is one of the main indicators of longevity. So if you just kind of get in the habit of stepping up on this box, squatting on this box, grabbing some kind of weight and squeezing it in your hand, and you can do this on a weekly basis, you're going to see huge improvements. And the good news is, you can really start to accelerate things. I'm going to grab my bigger box over here. So if you get a box, get a soft one. The soft box is good because it's sturdy, but should you trip or stumble and you bang your shin or something on it, you're not going to get hurt. On that wood box, you'll hurt your shin or your knee or something. But the variables are incredible here. This is a high box. You can see the squats to it, really easy. Now, if you graduate, you'll see I start to do some jumps here. Again, you certainly don't need to do this, but if you kind of get to the point where you can accelerate to this level, it's really good. And you'll see, like, I can just move the box to a different height, make it a little bit harder. But, the idea here is with very simple pieces of equipment, like a plyo box and some of the bands I'm going to pull out here in a second, you can really do so much at home. And you're going to see such a great improvement. You want to travel, you want to play on the floor one day with your grandkids. This is the type of stuff that's going to allow you to be able to do that. Every morning I kind of come down, I'll do like 10 or 15 minutes while I'm drinking my coffee on the days that I work from home, just to get my body moving. It's been really, really helpful. Now, again, you guys know I lift heavy weights and do that, but you don't have to do that stuff. This helps me to keep me mobile and flexible, so I can do those types of things. But you can just do these things, and you will see a dramatic improvement. The other thing that happens is once you start doing things like this, you'll see progress. And when you see progress, for sure, your engagement will go and will drive further. Progress really leads to engagement. And then what happens is, there's a famous book called The Power of Habit. And they talk about this concept of like a keystone habit, meaning like one good habit leads to other really good habits. So let's say you start doing this 2, 3, 4 times a week, and you're feeling yourself getting stronger. You feel your leg muscles, your arm muscles, your shoulder muscles getting a little bit tighter. When you're in the kitchen, you're going to be more motivated to kind of skip a meal, or, hey, you know what? I'm only going to have 2 slices instead of 3 slices of pizza, or whatever it may be. So you'll see a lot of improvements by starting something like this. And one of the big errors that a lot of people make when it comes to training is it's like all or nothing. It doesn't have to be that way. Something is better than nothing, even if it's the littlest thing. So you'll see I use these bands to open up my shoulders. I'm really blessed, like my knees, ankles, and hips are in great shape, even though I lift those really heavy weights. And the reasoning is because I do this stuff, very, very frequently. And I'll start to, sweat doing something simple like this. So these bands that I have, there's 2 different types. Like there's the open band, which is the other one I was using, and then there's these closed off bands. And when you order them, they usually come in a set, and they have a bunch of little, different resistance. So when you factor in the size of the box, the height that you're stepping up to, the amount of reps you do, how low you squat, whatever it may be, there is a ton of variables. And when you buy these bands, they usually come in a set, and they have different resistance. So you can do simple things like I'm doing here. This really opens up the shoulder joint. And you'll see, like, when I kind of hook it around my rack, I can do some face pulls, which is good for the back. So again, there's a lot you can be doing with really simple equipment that you don't really need all those weights and barbells. I think the important stuff is what they call progressive overload. They a lot of times refer to it as. And what that means is like, hey, if I did 2 sets this week, next week, do 3 sets. If I did 5 reps this week, next week do 7 reps, so on and so forth. Because what happens is, like, as you start to do these things consistently, you'll adapt. Your body will start to adapt. So what you have to do is you got to make it a little bit harder, right? Grip strength, shoulder mobility, knee health, all these things really help. And, a lot of older people complain about like knee pain, back pain. And a lot of times it's really just that those muscles in and around those joints are really just weak. They're not hurt. Now, I know some of you maybe have had some real injuries, and you got to kind of work around those things. But that slant board was invented by a guy who had multiple ACL tears and massive knee problems, and people in the sport industry kind of swear by it, that slant board. So it's a really nice tool if you can get your hands on one of them. All this stuff is available on Amazon, very inexpensive. Like I said, the Plyo box comes in a lot of different sizes. So if you can start a routine of doing box squats, step ups, some band work, and then starting to hold some things in your hands to improve your grip strength, you're going to see a lot of improvements. And doing this a couple times a week while you're watching a TV show or whatever it may be, really going to benefit you. I hope it helps. Love you all.